This young female presented with severe back pain, not able to walk. What you are seeing is the most of the end plates are compressed. You can see the end plate compressions over here, and you can see the bilateral pubic rami fractures, and you can see the sacrum is also showing the fracture. Whenever you are seeing this, we can think of osteopenia, of osteomalacia conditions, and you can think of hyperparathyroidism. Where we have to look, there is one side you can see below the thyroid. Usually you will have good amount of fat plates, and anterior to C5 C6 vertebra. These are the two sides. Carefully you go to look. In this patient, you can see there is a lesion just below the thyroid gland obliterating the fat plates, and you can see CT confirming it. What we are dealing is parathyroid adenoma with hyperparathyroidism responsible for all the symptoms. Similar, another case you can see the multiple end plate compression fractures with the severe osteopenia. Where you go to look is just in front of the C5 C6 vertebra. You can see over here, and you can see the classical appearance of parathyroid adenoma. So these are the sites. Even though multiple compression fractures, we are doing first section and first sagittal 6 or 7 slices. Carefully assess these particular sites. We will come to a conclusion whether you are dealing with this disease or not. Young boy, 2 years, up to 1.5 years, he was walking normally. Then slowly he was not able to walk. What is your diagnosis? Because they want to assess whether anything wrong in the brain and spine caused for a patient not able to walk. When we are doing, always we will do steer corneal sections. We are not able to find out anything, though still corneal was done. We can able to assess beautifully. You can see the widening of the physis plate, cupping, feathering, everything you can able to pick it up in MR. Just a CT confirming what we are dealing is nothing but rickets because of bony pain. Child is not walking. Altered sensorium with history of quadriparesis in elderly male to rule out cervical disc disease. When we are doing T2, it is looking some form of degeneration. T1 weighted images parasagittal. You can see the bright signals in the both glabus pallidum. It is suggestive of hepatic encephalopathy responsible for altered symptoms and not able to walk. Coming to infection, straightforward diagnosis. This is multi-level part spine, but first segment, and you can see this is important, but you can see the first segment involvement also. So multi-level, usually they are going for under GA. So they may intubate the patient. You may land up in trouble during intubation. So these are the things very, very essential for the surgeon's point of view as well as anesthetist point of view. And multi-level part spine, carefully we should evaluate it. Another patient presenting with mild paraparesis with, you can see the intramedullary lesion over here, small low signal lesion. But any clue you got it in this image? Yes, we are getting some clue. In first sagittal, you can see when we are doing whole spine, the first parasagittal section showing something wrong in the parasagittal area. When we are doing axial, we are getting another clue that something wrong in the pleural space. And this is very classical low signal lesion with the surrounding bright signal and edema. And this, we can do spectrum immediately. We can confirm with what we are dealing is nothing but disseminated tuberculoma in the cord as well as brain. Young boy, 2.5 years old boy, presenting with quadriplegia. When we are doing, you can see the T2 weighted image showing the low signal intramedullary lesion with the surrounding edema, and you can see the brightly enhancing lesion. And if you are carefully analyzing, there is something wrong in the occipital lobe also. And when we are going down with contrast, you can see, and there are lesions in the lymph nodes, there are lesions in the lung parenchyma, and you can see the enhancing lesions in the lymph nodes. So it's a case of primary progressive tuberculosis with involvement of the cord, and you can see the intracranial involvement of the brain also, and involvement of the lung parenchyma and mediastinum. Presenting with history of clinical symptoms suggestive of meningitis and multiple cranial nerve palsies and progressive weakness. You can see the involvement of the cardia icona, you can see the conus medullaris, and you can see the extensive exudates in here, and you can see the enhancing exudates over the basal cranial nerves, and you can see the bilateral subdural effusion. These things are commonly seen with H influenza meningitis. To rule out conus cauda lesion, it is a reference for the evaluation of lumbosacral spine. When we are doing it is looking fairly normal, but carefully if you are looking down, you can see the prostatic abscess, and you can do even diffusion, and immediately you can say confidently what you are dealing is the prostatic abscess responsible for the symptoms. Acute onset paraplegia. In this patient, what you are seeing is the enhancing lesion as the epidural abscess. You can see the epidural abscess over here. This is an emergency. You should go for emergency laminectomy and evacuation of the abscess. Otherwise, you may land up in trouble. And young patient, 11 years old boy, presenting with acute quadriplegia. And you can see the T1. There is a bright signal epidural fluid collection extending from C1 downwards up to S1. and what you will think of, it is nothing but blood collection. It is acute epidural hematoma. Then progressively, if you are going to the clinical history, the patient was giving the clinical history of coagulation failure and repeated hemarthrosis and everything. It's a case of factor VIII deficiency responsible for all these symptoms. In these patients, specific factor transfusion or blood transfusion is a treatment. Don't go for any emergency laminectomy, you will end up in trouble. This lady presenting with features of right side numbness. So they came for cervical spine evaluation. We have done cervical spine, you can see the intramedullary lesion. When we are doing first sagittal, we are having some we are doing some clues over here also. You can see there is a lesion over here. And after giving contrast, very straight away now the diagnosis broken ring or hemicorphic pattern appearance. That means what you are dealing is nothing but multiple sclerosis with involvement of the cervical cord, and you can see the retrobulbar neuritis also an involvement of the brain. So it's a case of MS with all presentations. Acute onset flaccid paraplegia in a child, always give contrast if your plain study is looking normal. This is T2 weighted images. You can see the absolutely normal appearance. You can see the T1 weighted images. You are not able to find out anything. After giving contrast, you can see the beautiful enhancement of the ventral conus and the ventral narrow roots. That means what you are dealing is acute inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, so-called Guillain-Barré syndrome. You can see the zoomed up pictures beautifully demonstrating the conus as well as the only ventral narrow roots are enhancing and the dorsal narrow roots are not enhancing. So it's a case of AIDP, previously called as Landry-Guillain-Barré syndrome. Chronic back pain with the stiffness, this is straightforward case of ankylosing spondylitis. When complications are occur, the fractures can go through the vertebral body or you can go through the disc spaces. Commonly, multi-level fractures are common. You can see this patient of Anki, here there is a fracture and you can see the another fracture over here and you can see the another fracture over here and you can see the rupture of the anterolateral and occipital membrane with the prevertebral hematoma and you can see the cord injuries, everything. So these patients should be evaluated fully. That is very, very important. Otherwise we may diagnose only one particular area of fracture, we may miss the rest of the things. Acute onset quadriplegia, this patient's whole spine was looking negative. We have done coronal sections, you can see the extensive bright signals in the entire muscle planes. That means acute myositis. 3 complications you will face these patients. You should inform, whenever muscles of more than 3 or 4 groups or 2 girdles are involved, they may go for myoglobinuria, renal failure, excessive potassium because of muscle breakdown, and they will go for arrhythmia. You may land up in trouble. Patient involvement of the intercostal muscles may go for ventilatory support. So it is in dead emergency, you can inform all these 3 people should be carefully looked into it, otherwise you may land up in trouble. Chronic progressive weakness, sometimes the myopathies, they will send for whole spine. Whole spine will look normal. The rest of the areas, what we have to look? You have to look for posterior paraspinal muscles. You can see the muscles are totally atrophic and they are replaced by fat. It's a case of myopathy. You can see the CT sections, just screening over the leg and you can see the various myopathies.